All right, we're getting on now with Joy News Interactive, and Aisha Ibrahim has joined us, and she's going to be doing us the honors. Welcome,
Aisha.
Of course,
it's going to be interesting this evening. We've got quite some very sexy topics to talk about, plus one that makes us Ghanaians. So don't forget to join the conversation. It's on facebook.com/Joy News on TV, and on Twitter is on Joy News. Just get relaxed and get your cold juice and enjoy this conversation. So it was a terrible weekend, especially for owners and staff of Group Indom, as an inferno razed down parts of their property. Many have criticized the time it took the Ghana National Fire Service to fight the fire, but the fire service say people lack an appreciation of the nature of their work. The question I ask, do you think people are just critical of state institutions, including the fire service, or you feel they have legitimate reasons to do so?
People who criticize state institutions based on their performance and their current doings within the economy. If state institutions are involved in corruption and other negativity, I think the people in the state have to complain, talk about it, because they are there to serve we, the people of Ghana. So if they refuse to do that in our interest, then it's our right to criticize them so that they'll end up being on their toe.
I believe that each and everyone has his or her diverse opinion in regards to institutions that are in existence in the country. But then it will depend upon the person's point of view or the pitfall, the loophole that the person has noticed.
I don't think they are too critical, because these institutions are there to serve the citizens, and sometimes it happens to me on several occasions when you go there, even the front desk, to talk to maybe the receptionist, their attitudes towards you, but you don't get those things in private companies. You go there, you are received well, you are given a seat, but it will surprise you that you go to a state institution and you won't even be given a seat. No one will even mind you. They will just be there and be discussing their own things. So I don't think people are too critical about it.
It's true, sometimes they don't do their work well. I quite remember some time ago at our house, there was a fire outbreak there. We went there to call them. It took hours for them to come. And when they came they said water was not in the tank. So we have legitimate reasons to criticize them.
Yes, they have legitimate reasons of doing that. That's to say, since those who are managing the government institution, they think it's government institution, so they do anything anyhow. When you complain, they will tell you that, oh, it's government institution, so you can't do anything, they can't do me that.
People, to some extent, are too critical. If you know what goes on in the institution and you are well abreast with the activities, then you do have the right to criticize when they are going wrong. Yes. Unfortunately, that isn't what is happening nowadays. Most of the time, people talk without, in a way, trying to find out what exactly goes on in the institutions. Yes.
And it's interesting when it comes to the fire service.
Yeah. The one major criticism I heard from this fire is that they said the fire service came to fight a fire, and they were very close. They're very close to where this incident happened, the Coconut Grove Hotel. So they're very close. They should take them tops 3 minutes, because really they could move anyway because they're emergency services.
Right.
Now they came there and they were supposed to be fighting the fire. But the fire they were supposed to be fighting, everything got burnt. The building they were supposed to be fighting, everything got burnt. So the criticism is, what did you come to fight?
What did you come to fight? And the other one I heard was that they said some of the doors were not opening where the fires were, the doors were not opening. So they decided to rather protect the nearby buildings and leave these ones to burn. That's the explanation I had. But basically, what I've heard since my childhood with fire service has been that they are in short of water. I think we've gone far beyond this problem. Maybe the fire service should come again, telling us.
But they will also tell you that when they get to, they're supposed to have fire hydrants.
Definitely.
In, at strategic locations. So that when they get there, they can just draw the water and fight the fire.
I remember some time ago there was an operation to get all those fire hydrants some were filled with weeds and stuff. I mean, they got all of that to get them working again. So I don't know why we're still here. Let's check what people are saying on Facebook.
Atapuku Clement says, I have been saying this and I'll continue saying it. Our systems are seriously not working. I don't trust these fire people a bit, and even their lines. There was a fire break on one of our halls. We called, but nobody picked the call. Kwesi Boatian says, seriously, the fire service is under-resourced. Hardly do they even undergo refresher course and even get the basic resource. We all think firefighting is about water and fire tender. It goes beyond that. We are quick to attack the fire service when they don't meet our expectations. But have we provided them with the needed logistics? When was the last time an organization donated to them? Hold it
there.
You expect organizations to donate to them. I mean, they're supposed to be equipped. Imba Abu says the personnel of the fire service are always slow getting to scenes of outbreaks. There was a case in Wa where a compound house was completely engulfed, and by the time they came, there was nothing they could do to salvage the situation. The Ghana National Fire Service should be proactive. Human lives are not spared in such horrible situations, likewise properties. And
Dave Bingi says, I think people have the right to do so, since it is our right to hold such institutions accountable and such. If they are criticized, be they destructive or constructive, it will put them on their toes to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of their task. And if their resources are not enough, the government will provide. And out of such criticisms, we will know their problems if only they speak out. Adora Mystical Brimer says, honestly speaking, majority of these institutions have gamuts of challenges from logistics to, but that doesn't mean Ghanaians are insensitive to their plight when we criticize them sometimes. TZTA Men says, Massa, they risk their lives for us, so the least we can do is to appreciate them in firefighting. You don't just put off fire, but start by saving things or property that has not been burnt yet before moving towards the burning items. Well, maybe we want to construct your sentences again. Chief Manosei from Atunsu says, I suggest that we make our institutions work properly, and these things would stop. Fire is a good servant, but a very bad master. A very bad master. So people must set up. Okay, so I think we as individuals also have a role to play in all of this. Of course, we know the fire service is there, but if we do one or two things right, I think we'll prevent ourselves from getting into all of this. Also, we have all complained and criticized the state of sanitation in our cities, especially in the capital, Accra. If you are as concerned as I am, then you should be interested in President Akufo-Addo's promise to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa in the next 4 years. So tell me, what do you make of this promise, and what do you think it will take to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa?
It would take the collective effort of us all as Ghanaians. You don't have to arrive at a conclusion that, look, the dirt in our city, our capital city, is too much. It doesn't speak well of us. If someone gets to hear the name Ghana, then he comes to Ghana and see that the capital city is filled with filth. It's some kind of embarrassing. So I think it would be a collective effort of every Ghanaian citizen, and then also the mandate of local authorities.
And every individual has to treat their own waste probably in their home. You create a little pit somewhere, then after you make the rubbish, you burn it so that there wouldn't be any littering around. And then we should stop the dumping sites. You know, they normally create this huge dumping sites, and then people will be bringing all those sort of rubbish from
every institution. You cannot just run an institution without laws or rules and regulations. And when you make a law or you make a rules and regulation in an institution, and there's no people to enforce it, I think we cannot achieve our aim or the agenda of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Okay. We have most of NGOs who are into sanitation and this water thing. So if we can partner with the NGOs, we give them more rooms to operate.
The government should reinforce the Environmental Protection Agency on bringing back the town council, the old things, the old system, what they used to, do as in keeping the environment clean, and then it should provide enough of the trash ban around the various corners and all that. I think it will help us, in keeping Ghana clean, and maybe we should encourage each other to not to throw trash around.
Israel, I'm fascinated with the lady's suggestion that we go back to the town council days. It's very interesting when you see people, the moment they see that color, it's a khaki color uniform coming, you can find people packing their black politics and keeping them inside their rooms.
Town council,
maybe we should go back to that. It would do us a lot of good. Let's check what you've been saying on Facebook.
Kwesi Boateng says it takes attitudinal change to get our city clean. We need to be responsible for our actions and inactions. Go to our villages, very clean. But in Accra, we have all the professors, lawyers, engineers, and the rest. Bola be what? Because the elite have failed to impact on society. Where is our education, big English, internet, and elitist behavior? Sorry, Bedia Shadrach says, this can only come to pass when Ghanaians change their attitude. I was in a trotro when a woman who claimed was retiring as a teacher after drinking water threw the rubber through the window to the ground. What sort of citizens are we producing as a country? In fact, we must change our attitude. Makante Matthew says this is too ambitious and can only be realized with a great deal of change of attitude of Ghanaians in Accra towards environmental sanitation and personal hygiene.
And yesterday was World Environmental Day. I bet how many people even remembered that it was Environmental Day, because just yesterday I saw somebody drop his pure water trash on the floor. I was hurt that at where I was driving at, I couldn't stop to ask him, gentlemen, please pick it up, And Makanti Machi says, okay, Amu entry, God's plan says, I suggest the sachet water producing companies should also be taxed to place dustbins in the marketplaces and on the roadside with their logos on them, and the sellers should be given a hang bag so that those who buy and drink immediately could keep rubbish in. And with this, Israel, you know what I think? In environmental law, there's this thing called polluter pay.
Yeah.
So maybe we should also try and implement that. I mean, those people, the sachet producing companies
I
and all of that.
there's an environmental tax that's charged them.
Okay, for that.
Yes, I believe so. It's charged on the sachet.
Well, maybe we should if they would.
So I believe they are paying, but what is the money being used for?
What's the money being used for? Anyway, but Stephen says, by providing trash bins at various vantage points of the streets of Accra, strengthen the supervision of waste collection and embark on strong publicity to create awareness on sanctions against any unclean environment or anyone found guilty of dropping rubbish in gutters and inappropriate places. Brakwabna says, providing trash bins won't solve the problem. The best we can do as collective citizens is to be law-abiding, and the law enforcement agencies must up their game to enforce the law. Bringing back town councils to the city might also contribute much to it, as it was used to be done before in our rural areas. Nana Kujobrin Pompwatson says, cleanliness is next to godliness. So I think the best thing is for us all to be committed and show good attitude towards living a conscious and disciplined life towards good sanitation. And very interesting suggestions. Prince Nuruddin Baumia says, attitudinal change, effective bylaws, public education on issues of sanitation. And Schiffman writes, it takes a dedicated and committed leader to make it. President Akufo-Addo Onapo. Well, I think I tend to agree with those who talk about attitudinal change and enforcement of our laws. I think it's two great things that can help us clean our mess. Finally, We live in a great nation, blessed with amazing people, beautiful landscape, and valuable resources. One of the things which symbolizes our greatness is the Ghana coat of arms. It was designed by Ghanaian artist Amon Kote and was introduced on March 4, 1957. The coat of arms has a powerful inscription on it: freedom and justice. 60 years on, it is important to reflect on the very essence of the symbol. The question I ask, do you think we have lived up to this motto, freedom and justice? And if you had the opportunity, would you replace it, and with what?
The freedom is there, but the justice is not there. So when we say freedom and justice, it's just by say. People say freedom and justice, but the freedom is there. People go do anything anyhow, and we live by that. But the justice is not there. When you look at the freedom we are enjoying, we do things anyhow without even considering the law.
We are living up to the freedom, but not the justice. Because there are a lot of cases around, and you know about it, and then we need justice. But I think government is actually sitting down on it, and they are trying to delay with the justice. So I think we have the freedom, but the justice is not there. I think freedom will do, because freedom is better.
Thank you. The freedom aspect, but the justice, I don't see it to be so, because as for freedom, I can say we are okay with it, but justice, sometimes there's some, it's not really, I can't say. As for the justice, I don't think there is.
Why don't you think there's justice?
Because when you look at issues that happens, even when we go to court and other things, sometimes they work on behalf of others. I see it to be corruption, like it has taken all over the place. So as for justice, I don't think, but freedom, I think we are living up to it. Yeah. Freedom and fairness will rule.
In Ghana, you can do whatever that you want to do. Foreigners come in, they do whatever that they want to do. There is nothing like, unlike you comparing it to other countries, where you are walking by, you be scared. But Ghana, you can do everything. I mean, you are free to do whatever that you want to do. So there is freedom.
How about justice?
Talking about the justice, I don't think there is, because if you don't have money, there is no way you get justice. I think we should live with the freedom, but the justice, I don't think is working.
Looking at Ghana, freedom and justice, certain things are not clicking well to match that freedom and justice. But anyway, we are a model to other countries. I would choose the freedom, but the justice, I don't know which way to put there.
So virtually everybody else agrees that we have freedom,
but there's no
but
justice.
the justice, they're not too sure.
That's quite pathetic. I think it should get our leaders thinking. If a lot of people feel there's no justice, let's check what people are saying.
On Facebook, it's the same thing. Judicial says, I think our freedom is working whilst our justice system is not. This is because our judicial system was totally corrupt with sheep, yam, etc. If I had the opportunity, I'd have made a freedom and instant justice. Oh, wow.
Instant justice at this time?
Adora Mystical says, lived up to waiting. Corruption and hooliganism, ridding country with impunity. We might look peaceful, but justice, I say no. All we do is NATO, no action, talk only. Look, if I had the opportunity, I'll change the flag to a cartoon to depict our true characters as jokers. And Makante Matthew says, no, not at all, because there's lots of injustice in this country. Freedom and justice has come to stay, and changing it would not end the injustices we have in this country, but rather a change of mind and attitude would be of help.
And Prince Nuruddin Baumia says, indeed, we have enjoyed the freedom enshrined in the Constitution and justice from the rule of law. If I have the opportunity, I'll replace it with sanctioned corrupt officials. And AJ Jr. says, as a country, Ghana and proudly Ghanaian, I will say our freedom is in good shape, but the justice is the problem because it favors only the rich and those who had the power, not the poor. If I had the opportunity to replace the justice, I would do so. Mark Boachi says on the 6th March 1957, Kwame Nkrumah declares freedom, freedom, and not justice. So as for freedom, I can say it is okay, but as for justice, Ghanaians lack it. So I want it to be freedom, equal rights, and justice. And on that note, we end the interactive segment. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Have a great evening.